Okay. Let E of X represent the total cost of the rental after X minutes. Okay. Interpret what E of 3 equals 1.45 is. So what does E of 3 equal 1.45 mean? So E of 3 equals 1.45. That's going to mean that at 3 minutes, it costs $1.45 to rent the scooter. Okay. So the number that's inside of here, we said X is minutes. Okay. That's how I knew that it was at 3 minutes. And then it tells me that E of X represents the total cost. Now on B, it's find the E of 10. So that means that we're going to take our equation, and instead of writing this X, we're going to put 10 into the equation. We're going to put 10 into the equation. So can somebody type this into their calculator? If you use your calculator on your phone, you have to do the multiplication first, hit enter, add 1. Okay, if you use just a regular calculator, you can just type it straight in. So 0.15 times 10 plus 1, what do you get? Type that again. So we got 0.15 times 10. We add 1. So 0.15 times 10 gives me 1.5. And then we add 1 to it. That's going to give us 2.5. Yeah. Now, on the next one, it says E of X equals 5.5. I'm going to take my equation and set it equal to 5.5. Now I'm going to solve. Do y'all remember back in like middle school, this little thing? Okay, when you simplify, you go this way. When you solve, you actually go in the opposite direction. So what would be first? Subtraction and addition. So we've got addition right here. But in order to get X by itself, you do opposite. Okay, so that's going to be, we're going to subtract 1. So that's going to give us 0.15 times X equals 4.5. I'm sorry, I was running out of room. Now you've got multiplication on this side. So how do we get rid of it? We divide. Okay, so we're going to divide by 0.15. And when we do 4.5 divided by 0.15, that gives us 30. Okay, so for domain, that's talking about our X values. That's talking about our X values. So what do our X values represent? A minute. Okay, so how many minutes can we start with? What if we unlock the bike? How many minutes would we be at? 0. How many can we go to? How long can we rent the bike? Forever, right? Like, what if we keep it forever? We're going to pay for it, right? What about range? How much does it cost to unlock the bike? $1. How much would it cost if we keep it forever? A bunch, infinity, right? On part E, it says it takes Mina 20 minutes to get to work on the e-scooter, and she has $4 in her Bird account. Does she have enough money to rent the e-scooter to get to work? Explain your reasoning. Okay, so we're going to take our equation, which was 0.15x plus 1, and we're going to plug in 20 minutes. We're going to plug in 20. So instead of writing that x, we're going to put that 20 in. Can somebody type this into their calculator and tell me what you get? You get 4. Does she have enough money in her account in order to drive? Yes, she has enough. Okay, because 4 equals 4. All right, so let's read it together. George is starting a lawn maintenance business. He charges a base price of $9 plus $7.50 an hour. Okay, so first of all, tell me the math definition of slope. What does it mean? What's the words that your teacher always uses? When we talk about slope, what do they say? You gotta speak up. I'm deaf. Try again. What does your teacher say? Slope is crickets. Come on. What is slope? What do they say? Again. Okay, so you're telling me this equation, we're going to need that for C. Y equals mx plus b. What part is slope? The m. Okay, now what does that actually represent? Slope is also known as rate of change. Okay, your teacher also said rise over run. Are these the things that are coming back? Yes. Okay, now what does it actually mean in context? Watch this magic. They said $7.50 an hour. Whenever I look for the slope, you're going to look for some number that's multiplied by either minutes, hours, days, weeks, something like that. Okay? So you're looking for keywords like per hour or per something. That makes sense? So on here, our slope is $7.50. Now, what does that mean? If he works an hour, how much money he gonna make? He's gonna make $7.50 that hour plus the $9, right? If he works 2 hours, that's gonna be 2 times $7.50 plus the $9. Is everybody with me? Okay, so $7.50 represents how much he makes per hour. Now, part B says, what is the y-intercept and describe its meaning and context. So when your math teacher goes, hey, we're going to talk about y-intercept, what do they always say? It's okay to be wrong. I promise safe space. I'm going to tell you whether you're right or wrong. That's my job. Y-intercept, what is it? B. Okay, so y-intercept is B. Good. All right, now what else do we know about y-intercept? It's our B. It's our where it crosses the y-axis. It's also known as our initial amount. It's where you start, right? They always say to start at the y-intercept, right? And then they talk about the rate of change. So what does it mean in context? Well, first of all, what number is it? So y-axis, initial amount. It's 9. So the y-intercept is 9. And what does that mean? Like if you hire this dude and he does 0 work, how much money he's gonna make? Don't say 0. Don't say 0. You hire him, how much money he's gonna make if he's done 0 work? He's gonna make $9. So it's $9 to hire him. That's his base amount. I'm gonna give you a second. So part C says write their equation. You told me that slope was M and B was my y-intercept. So I'm gonna take those numbers that I just found and I'm gonna plug them in. So y equals 750x plus 9. Two people, Adam and Bianca, are competing to see who can save the most money in 1 year, which is 52 weeks. You're going to use the table and the graph below to answer the following question. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at Adam's savings. How much did he start with? 30. How do we know that? Because that's where it starts on the y-intercept, right? So Adam started with 30. All right, now Bianca's a little tricky. How much did Bianca start with? Don't say 170. Not 5. What does 5 represent? The number of, right. So how much did Bianca start with? Or how would we figure out? Well, looking at the number of weeks for Adam, we looked at when X was 0, right? So for Bianca, we need to go back to where X is 0. Okay? Yeah, Ben. 34. Close. Close. So let's think about it this way. From 170 to 260, how much did we go up by? From 170 to 260, not 10. 170 to 260, 90. We went up 90. Now from 5 to 8, how much did we go up by? 3. So in 3 weeks, we went up $90. So in order for us to find out like how much we're changing each week, we could take 90 and divide it by 3. What is that going to give me? 30. Okay, so we're going up $30 every week for Bianca. So if we want to figure out when she started, like how much she had when she started, we need to go back from 5 all the way to 0. And we know that this is increasing by 30 each time, each week, right? So what do we need to do? We are at 170. And we want to go back to week 0. So what do we need to do? We're at 170, but we want to go back to week 0. Subtract 35 times. So what's 170? Minus 30, minus 30, minus 30, minus 30, minus 30. You tell me what that is. All right, so we get 20. So she started with 20. Let's see how I got that. So here's kind of what I did in mathy terms. I found the slope, and then I found the y-intercept. You see it? It's a mathy way to do it. Okay. Now we're going to write the linear function to represent both Adam and Bianca's savings. So what's the equation for a linear function? What's the equation for a linear function? Ariana, when I asked you what slope was, what was the equation that you told me? Okay, y equals mx plus b. Good. Okay, so this is for a linear function. This is actually slope intercept. Okay. So if we're writing it for Adam, we're going to have a of x equals, what's our slope for this guy? How much do we go up by to go over 1? 30. So we're going to have 30x plus, how much was our initial? 30, right? It's okay for both of our slope and our y-intercept to be 30. It's okay. Now, for Bianca, we're going to have b of x. And what was her slope? How much was she changing by? 30. And what was our initial? Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, but how much money are they saving each week? What was the slope? 30, right? And that's for Bianca and Adam, right? Everybody okay on that? Okay. Is there a week that they're going to have the same amount of money? Okay, let me show you. So this was Adam's equation. And this is Bianca. Do you see how the slopes are the same? Okay, when we have that happen, that means that they're parallel to each other. What do you know about parallel? They never cross. It's like a railroad track, right? Like they never cross, right? Okay, so no, because they have the same slope, right? I want you to check your work off of Owen's. Okay. Hey Owen, can you tell us how we kind of do this pretty quickly? Because you cheated? Oh, okay. That makes sense. All right. So, Owen, how'd you go about doing it? If you're not Owen, you should be talking. Okay. 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 So he said, like, for instance, this one right here, he said start at 2, and then he said go down 2, and then to the right 3. Yeah. And then he repeated that. On looking at the number that's out here, so plus whatever this number is, that's where we start on the y-intercept. Yeah. And then if it's positive, like he said, we're going to go up 4 and then over 1. Okay. Or you could go down 4, 3, 4, and then over 1. Because a negative divided by a negative will give us a positive. Yeah. Okay. Now, on your master check, the second question is going to ask you something like this, where it's going to say, write the equation. Okay. So it's going to give you a graph and it's going to say, write the equation. So we're trying to do that y equals mx plus b that Ariana showed us, right? Okay. The first question on your mastery check is going to look something like this. It's going to say f of 3 equals 10. And it's going to say, interpret what it means using words such as input, output, function notation. / name. Okay. So what this means is that our input is 3 and our output is 10. So 3 is our input. Our output is 10. The function name is just f of x. It's whatever the letter is out here, then x is inside the parentheses. The last question on your mastery check is going to say, interpret the domain and state it. We're going to go and talk about this in just a second. Are there any questions about 1 or 2, though? So, again, if we were to graph this, we would look at the y-intercept. What's our y-intercept here? 3. Okay, and then what is our slope? 2. That means we're going to go up 2 and then over 1. Up 2 over 1. We're going to repeat that process going down 2 over 1. So he was close on this one. Down 2 over 1. Okay. Everybody okay on that? Go ahead and go to the next one. It says, where do you see the coefficient 2 on your graph? So where do we see the coefficient 2 on this graph? Yep. So better yet, where is the constant 3 on the graph? That one's easy, right? Where is it located? The y-axis, because this is the y-intercept, right? Now, the number 2 is the coefficient for our slope. So this is going to be considered our rate of change, right? This is our slope. This is how much we're going up and over by. Okay, so let's get to the next slide. And we've got 10x minus 2. We got 10x minus 2. Really quick, let's graph this one. We've got that minus 2 as our y-intercept. And then we're going to go up 10 and over 1. So we're going to go up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and over 1. The reason why I counted like that is because they only have evens. Okay? It's going to look like this. What is the domain of this one? If we start from here, what is the domain of this one? So our farthest left x value. Not -2. That's our y. What's our x value? What is this vertical line I'm drawing? What is the x value? Okay, let me ask it this way. What is this point right here? Label this point. What is it? Okay, it's not just -2. Point has 2 points, right? Or it has 2 parts. What location is this? Okay, right here is 1, 0. What is this point right here? 0 what? 0, -2. All right, cool. What is, oh, and that graph is wrong. What is this location right here? What's this point right here? Not 0, 10. 1, 10, right? Okay, so this point right here is 1, 10. Does this graph stop? No, it keeps going on forever. So our domain is going to be from 0 to infinity because we are saying, hey, start from this part and go over. Yeah. Now, if I said interpret this graph, like interpret what the domain is, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the x-axis and whatever is labeled down here. So like, let's say this is the number of weeks. And let's say this is the amount of Apple Music downloaded. What does the domain represent? What are our x values? The number of weeks. This is number 3 on your mastery.